to spend together with this group of friends. The cruel and beautiful part of medical school is that in the end, the band has to break up. In the coming weeks, this awesome class will travel across the country to spread this knowledge, friendliness, and work ethic to new hospitals and new patients. My final comment to my class is to challenge you to be excellent. You now have all the tools and dedication to become incredible physicians. You will learn so much. You will soak up incredible knowledge, do amazing research, invent new technologies, and find new cures. But in all of that, don't forget about the other talents that make you amazing. Keep running marathons, showing off your dance moves, posting workout videos, and starting businesses. Keep playing pickup games, working in your gardens, coaching your kids' sports teams, and baking some world-class sourdough bread. Yes, I am looking at you, soon to be Dr. Henneke. All of you bring so much life, knowledge, and joy to the hospital, but your world is far more than medicine, and I cannot wait to hear about your next adventure. Congratulations, Texas Tech Medical School class of 2021, and thank you for an incredible journey. I now have the honor of introducing the participants in today's ceremony. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Dr. Brian Pomeroy, Associate Professor, Department of Pediatrics, Associate Vice Dean for Medical Education, Covenant Campus, and Hooter for the Covenant Campus. Dr. Alan Haynes III, Assistant Professor, Department of Surgery, Covenant Campus, and Hooter for the Covenant Campus. Miss Rachel Forbes, Assistant Vice Dean for Student Affairs, Covenant Campus, and Reader for the Covenant Campus. Dr. Amy Stark, Associate Professor, Department of Psychiatry, Amarillo Campus, and Hooter for the Amarillo Campus. Ms. Kristen Stutz, Assistant Regional Academic Dean, Amarillo Campus, and Reader for the Amarillo Campus. Dr. Martin Ortega, Assistant Professor, Department of Family Medicine, Assistant Dean of Medical Education, Permian Basin Campus, and Reader for the Permian Basin Campus. Dr. David Moore, Assistant Professor, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Permian Basin Campus, and Hooter for the Permian Basin Campus. Mr. Michael Calloway, Regional Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Medical Education, Permian Basin Campus. Dr. Ebtisam Islam, Assistant Professor, Department of Internal Medicine, Lubbock Campus, Associate Dean for Clinical Education, and Reader for the Lubbock Campus. Dr. Tom Tenner, Professor, Department of Medical Education, and Reader for the Lubbock Campus. Dr. Betsy Jones, Professor and Chair, Department of Medical Education, and Co-Director, Family Medicine Accelerated Track Program. Dr. Lauren Cobbs, Associate Professor, Department of Medical Education, Associate Dean for Student Affairs, and Hooter for the Lubbock Campus. Dr. Elizabeth Conser, Associate Professor, Department of Pediatrics, Lubbock Campus, Assistant Dean for Student Wellness and Advisement, and Gold Humanism Honor Society Faculty Advisor. Dr. Simon Williams, Professor, Department of Medical Education, and Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. From our Board of Regents, Student Regent and member of the graduating class of 2021, Brooke Walterscheid. Dr. Robert Salem, Founding Vice Dean of Medical Education, Covenant Campus. Dr. Gary Ventilini, Professor, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology and Regional Dean, Permian Basin Campus. Dr. Richard Jordan, Professor, Department of Internal Medicine and Regional Dean, Amarillo Campus. Dr. Darren D'Agostino, Provost and Chief Academic Officer of the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. Dr. Stephen Burke, Executive Vice President for Clinical Affairs and Dean of the School of Medicine. And finally, the faculty of Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center School of Medicine, will you please stand? Will the audience please join me in applauding our School of Medicine faculty and administration? It is now my pleasure to welcome Dr. Darren D'Agostino, Provost and Chief Academic Officer for Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, to offer his greetings. right. Who's ready to graduate today? All right. This is going to be very interactive, so please follow along. So congratulations, class of 2021. And congratulations and welcome back, our class of 2020, and those of you that were able to make it here today. We know you're in your residencies, and this is really just such a wonderful opportunity for us to celebrate with you, because we didn't get a chance to do that last year. So a couple of things. How cool is it that we're all in a room together today with your loved ones watching you graduate? This is awesome. Really awesome. How cool is it also that you woke up this morning as students and you're going to bed tonight as physicians? That's pretty awesome. So as I began preparing this welcome from the university for everybody in this room, I was reminded of a story from a few years back when I was part of a different medical school and went through a graduation ceremony sitting next to one of our guest speakers. And this guy was great. He was a physician scientist, and he had produced all kinds of new science and invented things, and he came up with things. And so I spent a couple of weeks really studying his literature and understanding who he was, because I knew that I was positioned next to him to have some conversation and to keep him engaged and everything until it was his time to talk. And I was all ready for this. And he leaned in and he said, "Darren, I'm ready for the question." I knew the names of his science. He said, "When was the school founded?" So I said, "Well, our first class graduated in the 1970s. He said, "That's great. I'm really glad that you stuck to the traditions and the ceremony of commencement and graduation." I asked him, "When did your school open?" He said, 420 years ago. And I sat there and I thought about this. And he went on to talk about how the regalia he was wearing, and even his tam that had a special shape to it, was the same 4 centuries ago. And the reason I was reminded of that for this welcome is because we are in the room again today celebrating your achievements, celebrating the things that you went through. But I'd like to frame it a little bit differently based on that conversation. We talked about the 4 traits and qualities that everybody in higher education has and develops while they're in school. We talked about adaptability, we talked about endurance, we talked about perseverance, and we talked about curiosity. And it's this foundation that allows you to move through your science and your taking care of your patients and doing the things that you do. There's no doubt that this has been a year of change. There's no doubt that this has been a year of endurance, of perseverance, of adaptability. And it's your curiosity while you are in classes to understand and learn as much as you can to get you through. And I would argue that because of this experience, you're in the best position to transform healthcare in the future for the sake of your patients and our communities. The university is very proud of you because of these achievements, and we believe that not only have you achieved while you're at school, but you've created a foundation for change later, and we want to encourage you to do that. As you launch on your next journey, you're going to be servant leaders. You're going to be taking care of the needs of your patients. And I'd ask you to keep in mind, please keep in mind, that your actions are so much more important than your words. How you treat people and how you do things are going to be critical for their success, their wellness, and their health. I'd ask you also to think beyond the obvious and the comfortable. It's very easy for us to say, well, I know that, that's all there is. But it's much more than that. We know you can think beyond the comfort of what you know because you had to do it, certainly in the last year, but definitely within the last 4 years. I would also suggest that you work collaboratively with everybody around you and the teams that you're working with. This is important because in the last 4 years, you have massive amounts of achievement, massive amounts.
How many people read Robbins cover to cover? All right, it's kind of crazy how much information's out there. But in your first 4 days of residency, you're going to realize you can't do it yourself. And so working collaboratively and with teams is going to be very powerful for your patients. We are all very proud of you. This podium party, our university, everybody that has been around you and helped you get here, for your family and your loved ones. Thank you for all of the support you gave these students, soon to be physicians, just a couple of minutes when I come back up. We're going to be able to move you forward to take care of your patients, your extended family in the future. I would ask you to shape all of your interventions moving forward based on your past experiences, and TTUHSC is very proud to be part of those past experiences that allow you to move forward. Have a relentless pursuit to transform healthcare and care for your patients. And with that, I want to say congratulations. Thank you again for being here and sticking with it. You and your determination are going to help thousands, if not millions, of people in the future. Congratulations, and congratulations to all family members, loved ones, and everybody in the audience. Class of 2021 and 2020, take care. I already closed my script. I apologize. So it is now my pleasure to invite Brooke Walter-Scheid back to the podium in order to give you a welcome from our Texas Tech University System Board of Regents. Brooke?
Good afternoon, y'all. It is my honor to be here as part of the School of Medicine class of 2021. On behalf of the Texas Tech University System Board of Regents, I want to congratulate my fellow graduates who are celebrating this remarkable, much-anticipated event. And further, to each parent, family member, friend, and loved one in attendance with us today, congratulations on a job extremely well done. Thank you for shaping us into the people we are today and for being our companions on this journey. Graduation marks a long-awaited time of celebration, not only for those graduating and their loved ones, but also for our faculty, many of whom are on stage and are flanking the sides right now. Not long ago, our class gathered to don our white coats for the first time, to embark on our training. Little did we know that the landscape of medicine would change so quickly, or that our clinical rotations would be disrupted by uncertainty, fear, and despair. But when I look at my classmates, who have demonstrated unmatched adaptability, and I look at our faculty, who have modeled strength and steadfastness, I am filled with optimism about the future, a feeling which perfectly captures what graduation is really all about. To my classmates, this accomplishment reflects not only a commitment to the classroom and to your studies, but to people. It is a great honor to have a medical degree, but it is a far greater honor to serve those in need. I feel so proud and privileged to have watched my talented peers grow into astute clinicians and empathetic healers. Admittedly, this moment is rather bittersweet for me, as I'm sure it is for many of you. Although we're excited to enter this next phase of our lives, grateful for all our relationships and thankful for our time spent at this institution, we're also cautiously preparing ourselves for the imminent challenges of residency and a life of learning. Decades of sacrifice and hard work have led us to this special moment. Special not only for those celebrating in this room today, but special for the lives that will benefit from every diligent hour of preparation. Healthcare is ultimately a team sport, and I look forward to witnessing you all bear your banners, celebrating with you in your eventual triumphs. who will go on to serve the people of our region, state, and nation. Despite an entirely virtual residency application cycle, our graduates will be among some of the most prestigious institutions in the country from coast to coast, carrying with them the Red Raider spirit of compassion, grit, and dedication to serving patients. We are also grateful to be retaining many of these graduates within our TTUHSC family, where they will continue to mold and shape the future of healthcare in West Texas. As a final word to my classmates, let's make our alma mater proud. Let's make our families proud. And perhaps most importantly, let's strive for honor to make ourselves proud. Again, on behalf of the Board of Regents, congratulations. I wish you great happiness and great luck. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Richard Jordan, Regional Dean of the Amarillo campus, to introduce Dr. Burke as our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Student Regent Walter Scheid. Dr. Stephen Burke is our Texas Tech Executive Vice President and Dean of the School of Medicine. Our students know Dr. Burke as the quintessential student advocate. But there are other things about Dr. Burke that you may not know. He graduated magna cum laude and was Phi Beta Kappa at Brandeis University. He was selected into Alpha Omega Alpha at Boston University, and in 2012 was named Boston University's Outstanding Alumnus. I first worked for Dr. Burke at East Tennessee State, where he was the chair of the Department of Medicine. There, he received the very prestigious Laureate of Medicine Award from the Tennessee College of Physicians, and he received East Tennessee State's highest faculty recognition, the Distinguished Faculty Award. On coming to TTUHSC, he pioneered the highly innovative and nationally recognized Family Medicine Accelerated Residency track. His leadership and vision were critical for the School of Medicine passing 3 rigorous accreditation visits with outstanding results. No Texas Tech Health Science Center leader has been more important than Dr. Burke to move student and faculty satisfaction into the upper echelons of all medical schools, and resulting in also a very significant improvement of medical student standardized test scores. Dr. Burke has authored over 120 peer-reviewed manuscripts, 5 textbooks, many book chapters. He is a world expert in infectious disease and community-acquired pneumonia. He recently wrote a very highly acclaimed editorial for the Washington Post regarding the challenge of COVID in nursing homes and the need to elevate the care of nursing home patients and to increase their safety. He also wrote a book, Anatomy of a Kidnapping, A Doctor's Story. And it described a day that Dr. Burke took the trash out on a Sunday morning, I believe, but accidentally left his garage door open. The next thing he knew, a man with a rifle had entered his home and his study, and he wanted money and jewels. Dr. Burke's first thought was he had to get the kidnapper out of the house because his family was inside. And Dr. Burke quickly agreed to go to an ATM machine. After that, in the car, while the kidnapper was likely deciding whether or not to kill Dr. Burke became a therapist for a man with a broken life who very likely had killed his wife sometime prior to Dr. Burke's kidnapping. And as they were driving around, Dr. Burke memorized the vehicle's VIN number through the windshield. Now, this is a difficult mental feat since it's a 17-digit number and it's backwards and reversed through the windshield. And after what I'm sure seemed like an eternity to Dr. Burke, he was finally released on a deserted road. The kidnapper was eventually identified by the VIN number and was arrested. His name was Jack Jordan. The book won the Book of the Year award in 2011 for true crime. When Dr. Burke recruited me to be the regional dean in Amarillo, he had to make it clear that I was not related to Jack Jordan. At least I don't think I am. This whole episode changed the traditional Texas Tech cheer. I think you've all heard of "Keep your guns up." But now that cheer has been changed. Keep your guns up, but your garage door down. I've known Dr. Burke for 34 years, and I've worked for and worked with many outstanding individuals in my career. But other than my mother and my father, I have more respect for him than any individual I've ever known. He's a leader, a mentor, and a friend to all his students and colleagues. Dr. Steve Burke.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan, for that very long and generous introduction. I've been dean here for 15 years, and since the average medical school dean in the country only lasts 3 years, I really feel grateful to be with you all, my 12th class that I followed from the white coat ceremony to graduation. I also welcome members of the class of 2020 to celebrate their in-person graduation. At the white coat ceremony 4 years ago, I spoke to you about the challenges ahead. Of course, we didn't know about COVID-19, but we knew that the path of a physician was never easy. You didn't choose to be starting your clinical career during the second worst pandemic in our country's history. But the School of Medicine has admired your resilience in this extraordinary time. We didn't understand COVID-19. We were concerned for your safety and unsure about being able to provide you with adequate personal protective equipment. We worried about how optimal your clinical training would be, but not nearly as much as we worried about keeping you alive and well. And I'd like to thank the faculty for the many ways they optimized your training under difficult circumstances. 4 years ago at the white coat ceremony, you composed your own oath. Don't know if you remember doing that in small groups in your P3 course. That oath was a commitment to the principles that you would live by for 4 years. The components of this oath were prophetic. You said, "We shall respect the hard-won scientific knowledge of those in whose steps we follow." That knowledge, including the basics of genetic research, has saved so many lives from vaccination against the corona vaccine. And I know you will continue to defend that hard-won knowledge against the rise of anti-science in your generation. You said, "We shall not be ashamed to profess what we don't know." And there was so much we did not know and still don't know in this pandemic. And you pledged that we shall remember that we are members of a larger society and may have special obligations to humanity. This is what you said at your white coat ceremony. Of course, rarely has a profession sacrificed so much for humanity and the public good as the medical and nursing professions have done in the COVID era. We're thankful that despite Lubbock and Amarillo actually at one time being among the cities with the highest incidence of COVID-19, Texas Tech School of Medicine did not have a single student or resident become seriously ill or die. We did have an esteemed faculty member, Dr. Juan Fitz, a leader in emergency medicine, a leader in training students for emergency medicine, died last year of COVID-19, and we have mourned his death and established a student scholarship in his name. We also mourn the death of 5 staff members from COVID-19, but we must also remember that over 300 U.S. physicians died of COVID-19 this year, mostly in the care of patients. To parents, on a happier note, we promised you 4 years ago that we would find jobs for your sons and daughters, and today we've fulfilled that promise. My faculty taught me a West Texas saying that goes, when you see a turtle on a fence post, you know it didn't get there by itself. Family and spouses are a part of why students are becoming physicians today. A day we celebrate the resilience of West Texas, the School of Medicine, and the Health Science Center. But we have always faced our challenges in West Texas with success. 52 years ago, there was skepticism about a medical school in West Texas. Deans at other Texas medical schools and politicians around the state believed that we did not have the population density, the academic infrastructure, or talent to have a health science center here. Now, 52 years later, the School of Medicine graduates close to 180 students per year, the top quartile in the country on the total number of students per class. We are among the 8 MD medical schools that produce the most family medicine physicians and the highest percentage of family medicine physicians, thanks in part to our FMAT program. We are 3rd in the country for the percentage of students that practice in their home state. Granted, we have a big home state. We maintain a 98 to this year 100% board pass rate, top 10 to 20% in student satisfaction ranking year after year. And with the financial challenges currently facing our country, we are proud to be declared by U.S. News and World Report to be the most affordable medical school in the United States. Parents can clap for that if they want to. But our greatest achievement as a medical school is the students that we graduate and their record of excellence as students and future physicians. This class volunteered in many different ways to combat the pandemic, produced more presentations and research papers than any class before, participated in service activities that won awards for community engagement or philanthropy, regional awards that honored the Free Clinic, Lubbock City Lights, and the Barbershop Hypertension Group. To the class of 2021 and to our most esteemed class of 2020, These are some of my specific remarks for you. You have been invited into a prestigious profession, one where you will be a trusted participant in the most profound elements of human life: birth, renewal, cure, survival, rehabilitation, but also decline, pain, sorrow, and death. Very few are permitted to take this journey that you have begun. You have been granted communion with life's most important trials and mysteries. Artists, poets, and priests may see what you see, but they lack the scientific tools that you have received. Gifts to change people's lives, to cure disease, or alleviate suffering. You will learn to appreciate man's vulnerabilities, but also his nobility and transcendent spirit. You will have great responsibility both as physicians and now as public health leaders. This is the responsibility that comes with a noble profession, those responsibilities which you accept today in your oath, to hold sacred the physician-patient relationship, protecting privacy and autonomy, to be honest with patients about options and about mistakes and shortcomings, to care for all patients, even the most vulnerable, and to respect and understand cultural diversity, to put your patient first, even when that makes your own life more difficult. And if you come to recognize inadequacies in the healthcare system or disparities between our people, I hope you will play your part in trying to correct them. You have upheld your white coat oath. You came here with the dream of becoming a doctor, and you fulfill that dream today. The day you are about to be called doctor for the first time. Well, legitimately for the first time. Some of you will receive awards today, but all of you should be so thankful and proud for what you have achieved as you come forward. Class of 2021 and those of 2020, we salute your success today, your work ethic and scholarly achievements, your incredible commitment to service, your collegiality and success in lifting up each other, your truly amazing diversity of background and thought, your equanimitas in this difficult period in your life. And I speak for all the faculty in saying you have inspired us to consider new points of view. You introduced us to sketchy. You challenged our ability to write exams and to do third-year evaluations. Ironically, it is often your generation which teaches us about life as a balance between work and family. More importantly, you give us hope that despite the dangers of the COVID era, our profession will always be in good hands. There have been bumps in the road, but Texas Tech School of Medicine has been good to you, and I hope you realize that now, or will in the future. And by the way, you really need to complete the graduating student questionnaire. This will be my last plea. And now, please join me in congratulating this class of 2020 and 2021. This year, the School of Medicine is proud to be conferring an MD degree on two of our graduates who previously have received their PhD degree from the Graduate School of Biomedical Science. I'd like to congratulate Candace Wright Booth and Dr. Carl Mueller, who completed their doctoral degrees in biomedical science in 2019. Both are well-published scholars who have presented their work at regional and national meetings. Both seem like they've been hanging around forever, and in fact, they have been here for 7 years. 2 degrees, MD and PhD. Will Candace and Carl please stand and be recognized? And now I'd like to invite Betsy Jones to the podium. She is coordinator of the FMAT program, chair of the Department of Medical Education, and regional director of the Laura Bush Institute. And she will acknowledge a group of students for whom we are very proud, this year's graduates of the Family Medicine Accelerated Track.
Good afternoon and welcome from the Departments of Medical Education and Family Medicine. The idea for the Family Medicine Accelerated Track sprang from the foresight and imagination of our own Dean, Steve Burke, who recognized that providing better care for better health at lower cost in the 21st century will demand a physician workforce more balanced toward primary care and especially family medicine. Dr. Burke charged the family medicine faculty with developing an academic track that would allow students to rise to the challenge of entering a family medicine residency in 3 years rather than 4, and to identify a cohort of students with the energy, aptitude, and initiative to do so. The 8 students who graduate this year in our 9th FMAT class continue to be pioneers in the best sense. Their hard work has helped to establish Texas Tech School of Medicine's national reputation for innovation and foresight in educating physicians. In fact, our mature and established FMAT program has made Texas Tech a leader in the consortium of accelerated medical pathway programs, which now includes about 25 schools in the United States and Canada. I'm honored to introduce you to the members of the 9th FMAT class who are wearing silver honor cords today. This brings to 67 the number of graduates from the FMAT program. So if you would please stand when I call your name and hold your applause until we introduce them all. Edward Alston, Caden Barber, Cheryl Haston, Nika Lertzema, Noriko Merida Morales, Annalie Molina, Stephanie Rodriguez, and Matthew Young. Congratulations to you all. We're so proud.
In 1998, Texas Tech became one of the only 2 medical schools in the country to offer an MD, MBA curriculum designed to be completed in 4 years. Since our first graduating class of MD, MBA students in 2001, 168 students have completed this rigorous course of study. Today, we add 13 to that number. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. I will ask the audience to hold your applause until all have been recognized. These will be great doctors, great businessmen, and great donors. Elmira Anood, Zain Ali, Connor Barry, Erica Beeman Olascoaga, Brandon Bradley, Ryan Burden, George Cow, Clarissa Gutierrez, Ganesh Monium, Shashank Middle, Trisha Modi, Emily Wynn, and Nikita Tangella. Congratulations. The School of Medicine, in conjunction with the Graduate School of Biomedical Science, developed an MD-MPH degree that focuses on public health practice and the knowledge and skills of the core public health disciplines. A Master of Public Health degree is especially important for physicians working internationally, serving marginalized and rural populations, and those considering a career as a public health authority. But never has a physician's knowledge of public health been more important than it is today. With the class of 2021, we are proud to add 5 new graduates from this dual degree program. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. Coy Bolton, Connor Jacobson, Bella Colio Parumpil, Ubramani Ragasegaran, and Al-Nais Yakana. Congratulations. Dr. Lauren Cobbs, Associate Dean for Student Affairs, will recognize students elected to Alpha Omega Alpha, followed by Dr. Elizabeth Conser, the Faculty Advisor for the Gold Humanism Honor Society, who will recognize the graduating members of that Honor Society. Dr. Cobbs.
Good afternoon and congratulations, everyone. The Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society, commonly called Alpha Omega Alpha, or AOA, is a national honor society for medical students, residents, scientists, and physicians in the United States and Canada. The goal of AOA is to recognize and perpetuate excellence in the medical profession. In fact, AOA was founded to protest against a condition which was associated with the name of medical student with rowdyism, boorishness, immorality, and a low educational ideal. Election to AOA is limited to those candidates whose scholastic qualifications place them in the upper 25% of their class. In addition to academic excellence, candidates are selected on the basis of their outstanding community service and leadership. The total number elected to AOA cannot exceed 1/6 of the total number of those in the class expected to graduate. So it is now my great privilege to recognize those who have been elected to AOA membership. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name, and I will ask the audience to hold your applause until all have been recognized. Returning AOA members from the class of 2020 include Dr. Atia Amatullah, Dr. Priscilla Collier, Dr. Samir Dadashezar. AOA members from the class of 2021 include Ahmed Abdallah, Connor Berry, Anna Bowman, Avery Bramett, Preston D'Souza, Alec Egan, Cody Slinger, Aaron Farrell, Bhargavesh Gautam, Stephen Green, Brittany Grzelnik, Keith Hansen, Matthew Helm, Tyler Helton, Samantha Howell, Hunter Jones, Christine Lynn, Nathan Lloyd, Ganesh Maniam, Emily Marbus, Ashley Mavadot, Tanner Marino, Emily Nguyen, Jose Alasquaga, Bradney Osemwingi, Pranathi Palutta, Erica Poe, Josh Suryavanshi, Brooke Walterscheid, Hannah Wilkerson, and Matthew Young. Congratulations to all of you.
The Gold Humanism Honor Society honors senior medical students, residents, role model physician teachers, and other exemplars, recognized for demonstrated excellence in clinical care, leadership, compassion, and dedication to service. Organized to elevate the values of humanism and professionalism within the field of medicine and its constituent institutions, the Gold Humanism Honor Society is now an established and well-integrated component of the medical education environment. In 2007, Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center School of Medicine's chapter of GHHS was established through the leadership and dedication of a group of students. I am proud to acknowledge the members of the Gold Humanism Honor Society. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. I'll ask the audience to please hold your applause until all have been recognized. From the class of 2020, Atia Amatullah. GHHS members from the class of 2021, Ahmed Abdallah, Nana Amakiri, Kelly Banta, Maricela Chavez, E.L. Domingo Johnson, Megan Gates, Clarissa Gutierrez, Connor Jacobson, Aisha Khan, Kristen Kinsley, Kenny Lahart, Sean Nur Muhammad Lee, Christine Lynn, Kelly Little, Carlos Llanes, Kelly McGuire, Rebecca Miser, Trisha Modi, Stacy Phillip, Pranati Palutla, Erica Poe, Josh Sirivanshi, and Elisa Vengalil. We are proud of each of you. Congratulations, GHHS. Dr. Williams will now recognize members of our Dean's Ambassadors, Global Health and Medical Humanities and Ethics Certificate Program.
The Dean's Ambassadors are a prestigious selection of students dedicated to the promotion of the Texas Tech University Health Science Center School of Medicine. Representing the medical school at a variety of events, these students serve as ambassadors for the Offices of Admissions, the Office of Student Affairs, and the Dean of the School of Medicine. Primarily assisting with admissions programs and events sponsored by Student Affairs, Dean's Ambassadors provide insight and perspective on the School of Medicine and TTUHSC to new or potential students. As student representatives of the Office of Admissions, Student Affairs, and the Dean of the School of Medicine, these students very much exemplify the principles, high standards, and ethical conduct of our School of Medicine community. I am pleased to recognize members of the Dean's Ambassador Program. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name, and once again, please hold your applause and cheers until all have been recognized. Returning members from the class of 2020, Atia Amatullah, Samer Dadosh Azar, Tim Dixon. Dean's Ambassadors from the class of 2021, Sarah Al-Haj, Shagufa Ali, Nana Amakiri, Zain Bilal, Sanyukta Bihari, Peyton Bloom, Brandon Bradley, Chloe Cooper, Jordan Costin, Sarah Dogum, Alec Egan, Alejandro Espinoza Tello, Ciara Espinoza, Rebecca Gabrilska, Megan Gates, Darby Gonzalez, Chandler Graff, Stephen Green, Landry Hatterton, Hunter Jones, Ali Khan Karimi, Kenny Lahart, Ganesh Moniam, Emily Marbus, Ashley Mavadot, Sarah Mendy, Tanir Moreno, Jose Olasquaga, Abarami Rajasegaran, Sean Center, Simran Singh, Dhiren Ukwadi, and Nicole Van Spronsen. We thank you for your service to our school. We have several graduates today who have earned a certificate in global health. In order to receive this certificate, a student must complete a global health elective, participate in a seminar series and other events sponsored by the Office of Global Health, and complete at least one international health elective, along with performing local service-based activities. It is not an overstatement to say students who complete this certificate program have demonstrated a true commitment to the altruistic characteristics of a physician who appreciates health challenges on a global scale. Members of the classes of 2020 and 21 who have earned their certificate in global health from the School of Medicine, please stand and remain standing as I call your name. Joshua Brogan, Zain Ali, Sean Nur Muhammad Lee, Stacy Phillip, and Erica Poe. We congratulate each of you. Take a step back. Sir William Osler once noted, "The practice of medicine is an art, not a trade, a calling, not a business, a calling in which your head will be exercised equally with your heart." The following class of 2021 graduates have distinguished themselves as John P. McGovern, MD, Scholars in Medical Humanities and Ethics, having completed a specially designed certificate program in Medical Humanities and Ethics. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. Candice Wright Booth, Yanashri Dermer Pandi, Bradley Grant, Sean Nur Muhammad Lee, Jennifer Lilly, Ganesh Maniam, Carl Mueller, Monisha Narayanan, Stacy Phillip, Elsie Rivera, Nicholas Smith, Grant Sorensen, and Alicia Voice. Congratulations to all.
in every graduating class, there are students who have chosen to join a branch of the United States Armed Forces. For the class of 2021, we have 7 graduates whose promotion to their new rank coincides with their graduation from medical school. I'll ask each of them to stand and be recognized. From the Air Force, Captain Anthony Betteridge. Captain Shannon McCowan. Captain Reed Rivers. Army, Captain Abigail Cox. Captain Alec Egan. Captain Jake Everett. And from the Navy, Lieutenant Grant Sorensen. Please recognize these individuals with our appreciation for service to their country. There's another group of important people among us today who are deserving our recognition. They are graduates, alumni, family, and friends, and who are former and current military personnel. Those now serving in the armed forces, or any who have served in the past, please stand and accept our heartfelt appreciation for service to your country. Each year, as part of Match Day celebration on each campus, students are recognized by various departments for their outstanding work. Students were presented with awards on Match Day, but I'd like to again publicly recognize these students for their achievements. You will find a list of each campus award recipients in your program. I will now ask all graduates in the class of 2020 and 2021 who received a Match Day award to please stand. The John Bessler Medical School Founding Dean Memorial Fund was established in 2005. The purpose of this endowment is to encourage and promote excellence at all levels of teaching, research, learning, and clinical care in the art and science of medicine. Based on criteria established by Dr. Bessler, we present several awards during the School of Medicine convocation ceremony. Students vote for a basic science and clinical faculty member who are their most excellent teachers. A separate award is given to a senior medical student who is selected as a student of excellence by our faculty. This year's John Bessler Founding Dean Memorial Award for Basic Science Teaching Excellence goes to one of the most successful, amazing faculty probably in the history of Texas Tech Health Science Center. And this will be his 6th consecutive year of receiving this award. He goes by just one name, like Moses, Cher, Elvis, and actually, lately, he goes by just one letter. The award goes to Dr. G, Dr. Ganapathy. I hope he's here. A certificate and a check.
Thank you. And congratulations to all of you.
You can get rich by being a basic science faculty member. This year's John Bessler Founding Dean Memorial Award for Clinical Faculty Teaching Excellence goes to Dr. David Trotter. Dr. Trotter is a member of the Department of Family Medicine and Community Medicine and leads our behavioral science curriculum. Dr. Trotter, please come forward to accept your certificate and check. This year I have the pleasure of announcing two recipients of the John Bessler Founding Dean Memorial Award for Student Excellence. The first is to Candace Booth from the Covenant campus. Candace, please come forward and accept your certificate and check. The second recipient of the John Bessler Founding Dean Memorial Award for Student Excellence goes to Erica Poe from the Permian Basin campus. Erica, please come forward and accept your check. Each year, we present a special award to the student who completes the medical school curriculum with the strongest academic performance. This year, I have the pleasure of presenting the Dean's Highest Academic Achievement Award to a student who not only earned honors grades in every course, which actually quite a few students did, but also who had the highest grade point average in year 1 and 2. The winner of the Dean's Highest Academic Achievement Awards goes to Bradley Osamwengi. Is anyone taking pictures? No. Sorry, no one's taking pictures, so we'll take one later. The Gold-Headed Cane Award is a long-standing tradition in medicine, begun in 1689 by the Royal College of Physicians in London. The college selected a physician to carry the cane, who they deemed to be the most outstanding clinician and exemplified the ultimate in consideration for patient care. The tradition was brought to America in 1919 and was first presented at Texas Tech Health Science Center in 1977. The recipient is selected by students and faculty as the individual who exemplifies those attributes that are most desirable in a caring physician. Our gold-headed cane is kept on display at the Preston Smith Library, and a new gold band with the recipient's name is added each year to the shaft of the cane. He or she will join us on the platform party for the remainder of the ceremony and lead the class in the recitation of the Hippocratic Oath later on. Each of our clinical campuses selects one student in the 4-year curriculum as a gold-headed cane nominee, and the winner is chosen by a faculty committee which has voting members on all campuses. The other nominees for the Gold-Headed Cane Award receive the Dean's Recognition Award. The first recipient of the Dean's Recognition Award is Andrew Henneke from the Covenant campus. Andrew, please come forward and accept your award. The next recipient of the Dean's Recognition Award is Christine Lynn from the Lubbock campus. Christine, please come forward and accept your award. Congratulations to all our Dean's Recognition Award winners. And now the recipient of this year's Gold-Headed Cane Award. Did I miss one? Whoa. Yeah, there are a lot of moving parts to this. The next recipient of the Dean's Recognition Award is Catherine Weekman from the Permian Basin campus. Catherine, please come forward and accept your award. Well, that's one of the many reasons we keep the regional deans around. Thank you, Dr. Ventolini. Congratulations to all our Dean's Recognition Award winners. And now, the recipient of this year's Gold-Headed Cane Award is Ganesh Monyam from the Amarillo campus. Before we proceed with the presentation of doctoral hoods, let me provide a brief explanation about our hooding ceremony for this year. Doctoral hooding represents an important scholarly and personal achievement for our graduates. In recognition of this ceremony's significance, as a conclusion to this portion of their educational journey, our graduates honor one faculty member from each campus by inviting him or her to serve as the second hooder along with each campus dean. Recipients will carry their hood over their left arm and present it to the hooders to symbolize the receipt of the doctoral degree. As each student's name is read, they will come forward to be hooded. I wanted to make one comment that this is going to take kind of a long time because we individually hood each student. And I've looked at other medical schools and they hood like 4 or 5 students at a time. We'd save a lot of time doing that, but that's not what we want to do. So we will recognize every one of our graduating class, and we will begin our hooding ceremony by hooding returning members of the class of 2020, and then go on to hood the class of 2021 by each clinical campus.
We will start with the hooding of returning class of 2020 graduates. Atia Amatullah, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Joshua Brogan, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Priscilla Collier, hooded by her husband, Dr. Landon Collier, and Dr. Stephen Burks. Burks? Should know that name. Samer Dadosh Azar, hooded by her mother, Dr. Nauzak Dodash Azar, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Tim Dixon, hooded by his father, Dr. Joseph Dixon, and Dr. Stephen Burke. John Bowie, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Sarah Siddiqui, hooded by her mother, Dr. Zafreen Siddiqui, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Adam Sariusa, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Misty Ruppert, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Mohammed Adib Tanbir, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke.
Ahmed I. Abdallah, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Udaya Lakshmi Aleti, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Fatima Bano Ahmad, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Sarah Al-Haj, hooded by her mother, Dr. Huda Al-Shahur, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Mohammed Sunny Almas, hooded by his father, Dr. Lal Khan Almas, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Shagufa Barkath Ali, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Annalicia Marie Alvarado, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Catherine Lee Boylan, hooded by her father, Dr. Christopher Boylan, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Avery Bramnick, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Ryan Elliott Dean, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Alexander Derry, hooded by his mother, Dr. Brenda Mann Derry, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Yanashri Dermapandi, hooded by her sister, Dr. Janki Kirthika Dermapandi, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Sipara Jaha Duka, hooded by her husband, Dr. Rahim Mathani, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Catherine Dolbravolny, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Hannah Elizabeth Fairley, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Darby Nicole Gonzalez, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Bhargavesh Gautam, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Andres Eduardo Guerrero Criado, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Clarissa Azenith Gutierrez, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Cheryl Ann Haston, hooded by her father, Dr. Zachary Haston, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Matthew Helm, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Tyler Helton, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Connor P. Jacobson, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Hunter Jones, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Bella Kalail Parampol, hooded by her sister, Dr. Rima George, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Ali Khan Karimi, hooded by his mother, Dr. Shams Karimi, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Aisha Sarwar Khan, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Aaron Richard Kobasumi, hooded by his uncle, Dr. James Stevens, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Kenny Lahart, hooded by his father, Dr. Christopher Lahart, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Christina Lee, hooded by Dr. Richard Jordan and Dr. Amy Stark. Ganesh Bala Maniam, hooded by his father, Dr. Bala Maniam, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Emily Marbus, hooded by her mother, Dr. Lori Marbus, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Sarah Mary Mendy, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Monisha Narayanan, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Evan Peter Nix, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Felix Omorui, hooded by his father, Dr. Felix Omorui, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Bradley Osarumase Osemwingi, hooded by his father, Dr. Ken Osemwingi. Stacy Phillip, hooded by her brother, Dr. Stephen Phillip, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Priska Pungwe, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Nicholas Smith, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Josh Rajesh Suryavanshi, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. James N. Tran, hooded by his father, Dr. Won Tran, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Dirin Ukwade, hooded by her mother, Dr. Philomena Ukwade, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Jonathan Umelo, hooded by Dr. Richard Jordan and Dr. Amy Stark. Hannah Grace Wilkerson, hooded by her father, Dr. Clifton Wilkerson, and Dr. Richard Jordan. Haley Gibler Williams, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan. Sarah Wilson, hooded by her father, Dr. Stephen Wilson, and Dr. Richard Jordan. And Jonathan Young, hooded by Dr. Amy Stark and Dr. Richard Jordan.
Daniel L., hooded, oh wait, sorry, hang on. Sorry. I was ready for y'all to go. Okay. Daniel L., hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Muhammad Ali, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Donna Ayala, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Sarah Bauminyar, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Kelly Banta, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Caden Barber, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Connor Berry, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Candace Wright Booth, hooded by her husband, Dr. William David Booth, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Brandon Bradley, hooded by his father, Dr. David Bradley, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Alexis Cruz, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Musab Diab, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Andrew Dew, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Sierra Espinosa, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Chandler Graff, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Landry Hatterton, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Simon Hale, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Craig Harrison II, hooded by his father, Dr. Craig Harrison, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Andrew Henneke, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Allison Keithley, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Katarina Keller, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Jennifer Lilly, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Nika Taylor Luxemer, hooded by her husband, Dr. Ryan Luxemer, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Shannon McCohen, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Kelly McGuire, hooded by her dad, Dr. Donald McGuire, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Emily Mendez, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Annalie Molina, hooded by her father, Dr. Jules Molina, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Tanir Marino, hooded by her father, Dr. Armando Moreno, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Erica Beeman Olaswaka, hooded by her father, Dr. Glenn Beeman, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Jose E. Olaswaga, hooded by his father, Dr. Jose F. Olaswaga, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Judy Sakya, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Carla Salmonego, hooded by her father, Dr. Hector Salmonego, and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Philip Simpson, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Craig Skousen, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy. Selvin Vieira, hooded by Dr. Alan Haynes and Dr. Brian Pomeroy.
Elmira Anud, hooded by Dr. Stephen Burke and Dr. Lauren Cobbs. Jonathan Aldrade, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Zain Ali, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Edward Alston, hooded by his mother Nancy Alston, Dr. Nancy Alston, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Zain Bilal, hooded by his father, Dr. Bilal Bilal, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Anthony Betteridge, hooded by his father, Dr. Lauren Betteridge, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Senyukta Bihari, hooded by her mother, Dr. Jayashri Bihari, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Peyton Bloom, hooded by her stepfather, Dr. Roberto Gonzalez, and by Dr. Stephen Burke. Coy Bolton, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Sorry, Coy. Olivia Boone, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Anya Bowman, hooded by her sister, Dr. Maria Luxutova, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Ryan Burden, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Shay Burkett, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Timothy Chow, hooded by his wife, Dr. Jill Chow, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Carolyn Chung, hooded by her father, Dr. Shanning Chung, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Chloe Chloe Cooper, hooded by her father-in-law, Dr. Carrie Cooper. Jordan Costin, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Abigail Cox, hooded by her grandmother, Dr. Betty Travis and Dr. Stephen Burt. Daniel Davis, hooded by his father, Dr. Jad Davis and Dr. Stephen Burt. Ruth DeCuna, hooded by her father, Dr. Nicholas DeCuna and Dr. Stephen Burt. Natasha Desai, hooded by her father, Dr. Tushar Desai and Dr. Stephen Burt. Nikita Deer, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burt. Sarah Dogum, hooded by her father, Dr. Walida Dogum and Dr. Stephen Burke. E.L. Domingo Johnson, hooded by Dr. Stephen Burke and Dr. Lauren Cobbs. Alec Egan, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burt. Cody Esslinger, hooded by his sister, Dr. Allison Watson and Dr. Stephen Burke. Alejandro Espinoza Tello, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Jake Everett, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Aaron Farrell, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Lauren Ford, hooded by her father, Dr. Scott Skelton and Dr. Stephen Burke. Andrea Follet, hooded by her mother, Dr. Marilyn Follet and Dr. Stephen Burke. Megan Gates, hooded by her sister, Jane Waterman Joyce and Dr. Stephen Burke.
Bradley Grant, hooded by his father, Dr. Finley Grant, and Dr. Burke, Stephen Burke. Stephen Green, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Dr. Kyle Groves, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Thank you. Dr. Brittany Grudzalanik, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Keith Hansen, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Samantha Edwards Howell, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Steve Shue, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Cameron Jurica, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Sean Lee, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Kristen Lynn, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Kelly Little, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Jackson Littlejohn, hooded by his father, Dr. Mark Littlejohn, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Nathan Lloyd, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Kyle Madison, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Thank you. Ashley Mavadat, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Norco Marita Morales, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Sashank Mittal, hooded by his mother, Dr. Sashi Mittal, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Tricia Moody, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Carl Mueller, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Lance Mwangi, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. William Nesbitt, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Sean Nur Muhammad Lee, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Mahaley Patel, hooded by her father, Dr. Satish Patel, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Abhirami Raju Segaran, hooded by her aunt, Dr. Kumari Nahalakumar, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Sean Center, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Simran Singh, hooded by her mother, Dr. Rose Paul Bogg. Grant Sorensen, hooded by his wife, Dr. Kristen Sorensen and Dr. Stephen Burke. Caleb Stewart, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Nikita Changela, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Nicole Van Spronson, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Daniel Vinson, hooded by his father, Dr. David Vinson and Dr. Stephen Burke. Good man. Clayton Wagner, hooded by his father, Dr. Patrick Wagner, and Dr. Stephen Burke. Brooke Walterscheid, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke. Matthew Young, hooded by Dr. Lauren Cobbs and Dr. Stephen Burke.
Nana Augustin Amakiri, hooded by his father, Dr. Omnia Amakiri, and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Elisa Beach, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Sean Bull, hooded by his father, Dr. Brian Bull, and Dr. Gary Ventolini. George Chow, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Maricela Chavez, hooded by her father, Dr. Luis Chavez, and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Sarah Jeong Choi, hooded by her father, Dr. Woin Jeong Choi, and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Jacqueline Falcon, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Juliana Falcon, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Taylor Gray Laszlo, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Janki Kandawal, hooded by her father, Dr. Punjagav Kandawal, and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Kristen Kinsley, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Rebecca Miser, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Pranati Belutla, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Erica Poe, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Elsie Rivera, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Reed Rivers, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Stephanie Rodriguez Peña, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Samuel Scarborough, hooded by his father, Dr. John Scarborough, and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Kyle Thomas, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Austin Turner, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Elisa Venganel, hooded by her mother, Dr. Marina Vengalel, and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Alicia Voice, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Catherine Weekman, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Anais Yacana, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini. Ryan Arispe, hooded by Dr. David Moore and Dr. Gary Ventolini.
Will graduates of both classes please rise? Will the gold-headed cane recipient please come forward to lead the class in the oath of Hippocrates? Graduates, please remain standing for the reading of the oath. Either way. Oh, who's got the oath? No, we got the oath here. Nobody's got the oath? Yeah.
Okay. I do solemnly swear, by that which I hold most sacred, that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members. That I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor. That into whatever house I will enter, it shall be for the good of the sick and to the utmost of my power. I, holding myself aloof from wrong, from corruption, from the tempting of others to vice, that I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my patient, and will give no drug, perform no operation for a criminal purpose, even if solicited, far less suggested. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men or women, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret, These things I do promise, and in proportion as I am faithful to this, my oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. In the opposite, if I shall be forsworn.
We're really pleased to have our new provost with us today, Dr. D'Agostino. On behalf of the faculty of the School of Medicine, these candidates are recommended to you for conferring the degree Doctor of Medicine.
Thank you, Dr. Burke. Are you ready? All right. By the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents of the Texas Tech University System, under the delegation of President Lori Rice Spearman, I confer upon each of you the degree for which the Dean of the School of Medicine has recommended. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in applauding the achievements of these graduates.
Before we close, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that gathered here are family and friends who have applauded your achievements, people who have supported you and encouraged you all along the way in your efforts to gain this education. It is fitting that we allow our graduates to say a special thank you for those who have helped and encouraged them over the years. Please join me in applauding your family and friends. Thank you for joining us in celebrating the School of Medicine's graduation. Graduates will recess to the outside of the building where we can join them. Wishing you all a wonderful rest of the day.